Hashtag Doggy People with Phil Lassman.
Hello, it's me, and welcome to Hashtag Doggy People, the show where I get to talk about life, love, and doggies. Now, this week, I'm taking a really huge risk because if I get this interview wrong, I'm going to be in the doghouse for absolutely weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my wife and founder of All Dogs Matter. It's Ira Moss.
Hi.
Hello, my
Hello.
darling. Hello, my darling.
Hello.
Hello. Haven't seen you for ages. Thanks for coming on the show. I tell you what, if you didn't, it would be a bit awkward, wouldn't it, really?
It would.
But anyway, I know you're very busy, so we won't keep you too long. How much do you love me? Caught you out.
Scale of 1 to 10.
Yes, I know what that is.
Nine
no,
and a
seriously.
half.
Thank you very much. I love you too. Now, look, I'd like to begin by asking you, when did you first discover your unbelievable love, and I know it is unbelievable, for animals?
Probably when I was about 3 or 5 years old, perhaps 3 to 5. When my dad used to take me riding on donkeys and ponies, and it kind of started there. In Hampstead Heath in those days, they used to have donkeys on the heath.
Why don't you? I know the story, but why don't you tell it everyone, because I think it's quite entertaining. About the story about the time your dad stole a donkey and brought it back in.
We didn't really
your garden.
steal the donkey. So I'm going back to the 70s because I'm quite old. And if any of you know Hampstead Heath, there's the Whitestone Pond, and at the top there used to be donkey riding every Sunday. And eventually, after I don't know how many years, the donkeys had to stop being able to ride there, and the donkey riders were selling the donkeys. And in those days we lived in Hampstead Garden suburb, not far from Hampstead, and we had a sort of relatively nice sized garden. So my dad decided one day to come home with one of the donkeys, and he thought it could live in our garden, but we had complaints from the neighbours fairly quickly. So I think we managed to get a sanctuary.
Why.
I know.
I've married into a truly mad family, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's true. So I think we found a sanctuary to take the donkey away, and that was the start of it.
And that was the start of it. And I know you've been mad about animals ever since. Now, look, let's get straight into the main love of your life. And I know what that is. It's All Dogs Matter.
I thought you were going to say you.
Listen. Yeah, no, we've passed that. Now, let's get straight to the main love of your life. And I know what that is. It's All Dogs Matter. Now, tell us exactly who started it, when it was started, how it all came about.
Okay, so All Dogs Matter was started or founded about 12 years ago now. It was a group collective. There were 2 or 3 of us. There was myself, Peter Egan, who I'm sure you all know, Alec Burns, and some other people at the time that helped us. And we officially registered as a charity 11 years ago. In fact, 11 years ago this week.
That's right. It seems so much longer because All Dogs Matter is so highly respected now, and it's so ingrained in the world of dog rescue that I can't believe it's only 11 years. It seems like, to me, it seems like a lifetime.
Well, we were sort of, we were doing a little bit before that, so probably 12, 13 unofficially.
Yeah. Well, I know what started it, actually. If I can make my own little contribution, because I'm connected to you, it all began, of course, when I got you Monty, the little puppy. We rescued that puppy from that guy that lived here. And just for everyone's benefit, I would say that this is the real founder of All Dogs Matter.
Yeah, Monty.
This guy here. This is Monty, the very famous Labrador, and he was the very first figurehead of All Dogs Matter.
He was.
Which, bless him, we never forget Monty. He started it all. So, yes, Ira. So, after you started, so that was, now you're saying 11, 12 years ago, how many dogs do you rehome each year at All Dogs Matter?
So we rehome approximately 200 to 400 dogs a year. So if you times that by 11, that's probably about 3,000 dogs now over a period of time, maybe a bit more.
So on average, you're rehoming one dog every single day?
One dog a day. A dog a day.
Right? A dog a day. A dog a day. I know. And And I know what you're like. You get really heavily emotionally involved with all the different cases that come along. But you're lucky, I have to say, that you have always had, really from day one of the best teams in the business. And I'm very grateful to them all for putting up with you and dealing with you. Tell us, what's the chain of command at All Dogs Matter? Tell us about the team members that make All Dogs
so
Matter.
Obviously over the years that's changed, and we have a great team of foster carers and volunteers at kennels behind the scenes. I can't name them all because there's been so many, but they're all amazing. But in the office we have myself, we have Karen, Laura and Rebecca. That's changed obviously over a period of time, but that's the main key team in the office. And then there's all the other volunteers, drivers, foster carers. Everyone helps, everyone does their bits. Event volunteers as well. When we can do events.
I know that foster carers are really like the first line. They're very important to you. In your opinion, what do you think are the essential qualities an owner must have to become an All Dogs Matter fosterer?
Patience, clean floors. Not be too proud of your floors, because you may get the odd little present every now and again. Patience. These dogs have been through a lot. They're confused. You need to be patient with them. All sorts of weathers. You're going to have to go out when it's raining or really hot. You also have to be quite hard in some respects, that when that dog goes, and you can sometimes get really, really attached to them very quickly, and you see them move on, that can be quite sort of stressing for a lot of people. So you have to almost toughen up and not become too emotionally involved with each dog that you foster. And some of the fosters have fostered sort of, maybe 30 dogs a year, and that can be quite tough going. Eventually, most people find a dog and they will adopt, but it's quite a hard job. And they're unsung heroes really, because no one knows behind the scenes what these guys put up with. They've got, a lot of them have been bitten in the past, all sorts of things.
I certainly would agree that all the people who foster dogs, I mean, not just at All Dogs Matter, up and down the country with all the other rescues, I think they are the unsung heroes of dog rescue and what you do, because they have to go through so much. Tell us, how's the pandemic affected things at ADM this year?
Okay, so we haven't been able to do any events, so we've sort of missed seeing all our regulars. So hi to anyone who's watching. Hopefully we'll see you all in the spring, if not before. From a financial point of view, we've been fairly lucky that we had a couple of grants at the beginning of lockdown. That's obviously drying up now. We have a charity shop which we've had to close. Well, we managed to open a little bit in between. So it has affected our income as it would have everyone's. We've also noticed a real change that sort of literally at the beginning of lockdown, the weather was good. Suddenly it became everyone wants to buy a puppy. If you go out to a park now on a nice day, everyone's got a dog, everyone's got a puppy. So what that's done, it's inflated the prices of dogs. People are currently paying kind of crazy prices, between £2,000 and £3,000, maybe £3,500 for a puppy. There's the obviously for one puppy, yeah. So it's become a huge business. People are earning sort of £20,000 to £50,000 off litters of dogs, and people that don't want those dogs, because it can't be that everyone that's bought themselves a puppy has kept that puppy, rather than bringing them into rescue and they don't want them anymore as they would have done traditionally, they're reselling them online on Facebook or whatever social media platform. So by the time we're getting those dogs, a lot of them have behavioural issues, medical issues, so we've noticed a big change in that. So dogs aren't coming through rescue, they're being resold. They're obviously people are getting them to resell them again, they're being traded, and they've become a commodity. So that's really sad for us. And when we do get them in, our vet bills, there's less dogs coming in, but vet bills have shot through the roof, because a lot of them have got medical conditions through stress and moving. However, on the good side, on a plus, the dogs that do come in, because demand is so high, because a lot of people don't want to buy, they want to rescue still, they are going out, the dogs are going out quite quickly. So on a good note, the turnover of the dogs coming in is only probably a couple of weeks in some cases, which is really good, or they're going into foster homes.
So the cost of vet bills are as we both know, are enormous.
Oh, huge.
And you're seeing a lot of those dogs coming in with problems. I mean, I've got to talk about it with you on the show. That you know what I'm referring to. That a few weeks ago, we lost our precious Abby the Staffy, who was the monumental figurehead who took over the role from Monty. I know it's sensitive, but what we've done is we're currently, we're fostering Lola, aren't we? Lola in London, who's got her own Twitter site, probably got more followers than me.
No, she's only got 33. She needs some
33.
Lola in London.
Listen, 1 month from now, she'll overtake me. But anyway, I'm not on Twitter for followers exactly. Anyway, I mean, I love my followers, but it's not the reason that I'm on there. You know that. I'm just trying to do something to help you, darling. That's all, really. But we've got Lola, who, what condition has Lola got? Actually, she's heavily tumoured, isn't she?
So Lola's another brindle staffy that came in from the Hackney Dog Wardens. She was found sitting next to some bins, and I've discovered that since we've been fostering her. Every time I pass a bin in the street, she wants to sit by a bin. So she may have been with someone homeless for a while, but she was microchipped to someone, but no one's come forward for her. So she's suffering with Marcel tumours, which are benign tumours, which is on treatment for. We're waiting for them to be shrunk a little bit so that they can be operated on. She hasn't replaced. They're huge, yeah. They're rather large, so at the moment they're too big for the vets to remove because there's not enough skin to dry up. We will come out with Lola when we officially adopt her. We will come out to the doggy world about Lola. Abby died, I think it was 8 weeks ago actually today, before Abby died. So yes, we've had Lola for 4 weeks. She came purely by accident. She's lovely. She's very, very sweet. And yeah, she's also a brindle 10-year-old female staffy, just coincidentally. But those tumours are going to cost a lot of money to get sorted. So each dog that comes in, the average cost on average is say £500 on vet treatment at least. So even though I think since lockdown we've probably taken in, I don't know, over 100 dogs, that's a lot of money.
All require medical assistance.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah. And not even that, the vets are so busy because there's so many puppies that it's really hard to get appointments. The vets we work with, I have to give also a major thank you to our vets that we do work with.
Give them a plug. They
help us. So there's Ark, there's Josh, there's Medivet, and Laos and Vets for Pets. They've been amazing, but they're so busy. It takes longer for us to get appointments to see some of the dogs, even though they always prioritise us. But even just getting your dog to the vet is a struggle because there's just so many puppies everywhere.
There's just so much involved with your job, honestly, Ira. Tell us what is the what's the worst thing about the job that you do?
Giving dogs back to people sometimes that we shouldn't really be giving them back to. So occasionally we'll take a dog in, an owner will come forward. We don't always think, not that we're judging anyone, but sometimes we don't feel that's the right home for the dog to go back to. And if it's a legal requirement during a certain amount of time, then we may have to. So that's quite tough and tough on the staff, seeing dogs go back sometimes with their tail between their legs when they see their owner rather than wagging their tail when they see their owner. That's pretty tough. Raising funds, we can't do any events this year. Social media has pluses and downsides. There's lots of groups on social media that have their own opinions and sometimes make our jobs really, really hard, which I won't go into. But social media can be quite tough in some situations because people have their own opinions and aren't always right. We're not always right every time, but so yeah, it's dealing with people. It's not really the dogs that are the problem. A lot of the time it's dealing with the general public.
Well, everyone's entitled to their view, aren't they? But social media, it can be a massive advantage, and as we know, it could be a massive disadvantage as well. Everyone's got an opinion, haven't they? Tell us about the trends of dog breeds this year, because this year I know that you've actually had a number of one of my favourite breeds, as you know, is Greyhounds.
Oh yes.
Tell us about the Greyhound situation
so
this year at ADM.
Yeah. Well, the Greyhounds are all ex-racers, so we've never really taken in racing Greyhounds before. We've had the odd lurcher here, every now and again. And we decided at the beginning of the year where we had a gap because that many dogs weren't really coming in and we had spaces at kennels, and our job we fundraise is to take dogs in. So we've got contacted by one of the Greyhound boards because the Greyhounds now have to go through a channel where they have to go to rescue. And we thought, okay, let's try some greyhounds. We took in 6 in March, struggled to start with, and then lockdown came in, and actually it was great because people wanted to foster or adopt. They gave these dogs a chance that they may not have considered before. They're generally really easy to look after. The couch potatoes, so anyone that has a greyhound knows that they go for a little trot or a walk around the park, and then they're happy to sleep the rest of the day. I mean, these guys are pretty institutionalized. They've spent most of their lives in a kennel as racing dogs, but they adapt pretty quickly. They're quite gentle. So I think to date, since March, rehomed about 60 greyhounds, 50 or 60 greyhounds so far this year.
That's a lot. Yeah,
it's great.
I love them. I mean, they're such underrated. You know, we had Angela and Martin on.
Yeah, well, they helped. They started us off on the greyhounds.
With the galgos, yeah, no, they're fantastic. I can't not talk to you about your patrons. You are blessed, I think, at All Dogs Matter to have a selection of the best patrons that you could possibly have in the world.
We are quite lucky.
That's right. So, I mean, we have to start, of course, with the doyen of your patrons, has really done a heck of a lot for you this
really
year and quite
yeah.
recently. You know who I'm referring to, of course, it's Ricky. Tell us about the Brewdog thing, which also he did with your counterpart, Dots. You know, the lovely Michelle, Dots on the Street. So tell us about that. What has been the benefit to you?
Okay, so Ricky, along with our other patrons and celebrities this year, has been amazing, and we really would have struggled without him helping us. Did a collaboration with Brewdog, who every packet of beer that was sold, we did a special collection of beers that had a name of a dog, all dogs that were had either been rehomed or were looking for dogs at the time, and a certain amount of money came through from that. So and that was split between us. I think Peter Egan and Ricky worked on that together, and that was a couple of months ago now, but that really helped us to keep going for an extra month. I'm sure that would have, obviously, can't speak for Michelle, but I'm sure that helped her as well, a great deal. So that was a really good collaboration, and just generally sort of plugging us. Also, Michelle Collins has been helping us, wearing lots of our merchandise. All our merchandise, by the way, is on our shop website for sale if you want to buy. And plug. Yeah, little secret. We also managed to rehome, even though we're All Dogs Matter. Occasionally, the odd cat creeps in, and we had a cat that Ricky and Jane adopted from Feline Friends. That was in collaboration with a small but great charity called Feline Friends. I'm sure many of you would have seen Pickles or Pickle on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, Zara, but you've become as famous now for the All Dogs Matter events. They're such good fun, and I think it's a lot of it is down to the organisation and the creation of these different ideas. Of course, not forgetting your compere, who I understand is really fantastic and very handsome guy.
Yes.
He's fantastic, your compere. I've seen him in action.
Our first event of the year, we always start off with our Valentine dog walk, our famous Valentine dog walk on Hampstead Heath. We're not sure at this stage whether we'll be able to do that, but if we can, obviously, we will let you all know.
We need to just talk about the shop, the charity shop, because you've got the one in Muswell Hill, but I think you told me that you had plans to open another one. What's the situation with that?
Possibly, I think we'll have to review that depending on what happens with the pandemic, and because obviously we don't want to now open a new shop and then we go into lockdown again. I think we'll have to review that.
Well, listen, we've got to think positive. We've got to think that we're going to be coming out of this. We're going to have a vaccine. Things will get better, ladies and gentlemen. Don't think doom and gloom. You've got to think positive. That's the thing.
The main thing for us is to be there for the dogs.
Well, I know you're there. You're always there for the dogs, but I think the shop is important for it does help to create some income for you. Of course, you've got to be there for the dogs. This is your life. I live with you, and I know everything about you. You're out the door at 6 in the bloody morning, 7. And you don't come back. And when you come back, it's another 3 hours in the office for you. I know it's the love of your life, and I support you, and I just think it's fantastic. But of course, people like I interviewed Michelle and from Dots. She's like you, totally, thoroughly, completely dedicated.
Oh, more so, because she's out
Jill.
On the street.
She is quite unbelievable, and the way she dedicates her life. You've got Jill Robinson, who we've interviewed as
Yeah.
well. Another amazing. I mean, Penn. What about? I mean, Penn Farthing, who's sitting in the middle of the desert in Afghanistan.
My dog is
I'm
easy.
just lost
Yeah.
for words, really.
I know,
Every
I know.
one of you leaders of all the dog rescues, and not just in this country, around the world, I just absolutely salute you. How do you see the future of dog rescue?
Well, it's strange because, as I said, at the moment, dogs have become big business. They're kind of almost like the new drugs money. They're worth so much money. We're not seeing them come in. And when I speak for myself, and I'm sure probably some of the other charities, if people don't bring dogs into charities won't be able to survive because when they do eventually come in, they cost treble the amount of money normally, and you do need those dogs to keep coming through to be able to. You never make money on dog adoption fees, but you kind of need to kind of engage with people, and you need some kind of cash flow coming through. So we are concerned that people aren't bringing dogs into charities, and they prefer to just get a fast buck back, and then aren't really that concerned about the welfare of their dog. There's been a lot of negative press that rescues put dogs to sleep and they do this and they that. That's not true. I'm not saying dogs never get put to sleep for medical or maybe extreme behavioural issues, but we can be unbiased and choose a home that we think is more suitable. If you were going to sell a house, you'd probably go to an estate agent. You might try and sell that property on your own, but it might not be, as easy. So please, if you're going to rehome an animal, when I say a dog, a cat, or even a rabbit, try and do it through a rehoming charity or centre. Please don't put them online. You just don't know where those animals are ending up.
Listen to my missus. She knows, she absolutely does. I have to say just a word on your patrons. We've discussed, Ricky. I mean, you've got, you mentioned the lovely Michelle Collins, which, hoping to talk to her. You've also got, come on, the amazing Alan Carr.
Alan Carr,
Alan, bless him. Half my wardrobe's full of his clothes. They are. With me and Alan are almost the same sort of size. But Alan's been a very generous benefactor.
Alan's been, Alan and his partner, his husband Paul, great. They donate a lot of Alan's clothing that he's maybe worn on screen to our shop. So thank you, Alan. We sell that either to the shop or to Phil, which raises funds. So thank you. Yes, he does pay. I make him pay. Charge him top dollar. So yes. So you're all amazing. It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity or just the average person on the street. Everyone does their own bit, and everyone's super amazing.
Yeah. Fantastic.
When Jane as well, I can't forget Jane Fallon, Ricky's partner.
Who would forget Jane? Never. Jane is another very loyal supporter. But that's the blessing of All Dogs Matter, and that's what you and your team have created. A fantastic following. We all know how hard you work and all the terrible traumas that you go through. I asked you earlier what was the worst part of your job, but now I'm going to ask you, what is the best part of your job?
That's an easy one. The best part is seeing dogs coming in or animals coming in, looking really sort of depressed, shut down, who you can see in some cases just think that they've kind of given up because they've been passed around so many times. They lose sort of trust and they literally just break down. But then seeing them go off and then new owners sending us photos and updates and coming to our events when we have events and seeing them again. Sometimes they metamorphose into a different animal. They just look so different. So that's the best part, seeing those dogs or animals sort of happy. Just seeing them happy really, and the owners, and seeing the owners happy having them and being able to do that for them. A dog can, or any animal can really change your life. They are therapeutic, and you can help each other. It's not about you helping them, it's them helping you as well. So it's a sort of double whammy.
Now I know that you're unbelievably into dogs, but will we ever see an All Animals Matter? Will we ever see you diversifying into other animals? I know you so well. If we lived out in a different country, it would be donkeys. All hippos matter, or all rhinos matter.
Yeah, donkeys.
It would be
horses,
anything.
Yeah. Well, this Sparta, when we went to Morocco and we visited Sparta,
Sparta, love Sparta.
Donkeys and horses, which was my love to start with as a child. So the donkeys. Cats, we do take cats in occasionally if we can. We wouldn't refuse an animal if and where we can.
It's like if it's an animal,
if it's got 4 legs,
if it's got 4 legs,
Sometimes two legs,
you will
the odd bird.
That's it. I know. I can't. I mean, we don't. Whenever we go on holiday, ladies and gentlemen, which is a very rare thing. I mean, it's pointless, really, because we're headed. You know, we're in a hotel, but we're headed straight for the local rescues. That's what we do. The holiday is all about visiting as many rescues and animal pounds as we can possibly do. Now, look, Ira, I would nominate you, but who would you nominate for your all-time animal welfare hero?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I don't think I can really nominate one person.
List them.
Well, Peter Egan, he helps so many different animal charities. Alison, you've got coming on.
Alison Pause to Rescue.
To Rescue, Romania.
On. In fact,
Michelle,
next week she's coming on.
Yeah, Dots, who you've mentioned, Dogs on the Streets. There are other sort of rescues helping homeless people. There's the bigger charities. Everyone really paying, you know, now said everyone that you've mentioned really already. There's some amazing people out there.
Yeah, they are.
Jill Best, you know, from Animals Asia. There's HSI. Jill Robinson, sorry.
Jill Robinson. Jill Best was my
was
my ex-business partner.
Slip of the tongue. Jill Robinson and HSI as well. You know, we also have got. I can just quickly add in. Unfortunately, this year we haven't been able to take any dogs in. We started taking dogs in from Asia, from the awful meat farm industry, from meat farms, and unfortunately we haven't been able to do that this year. We couldn't get any dogs or animals in. There's some amazing groups behind the scenes, volunteers working in China and Korea and countries like that sort of behind the scenes rescuing dogs from really, really traumatic situations, and those guys need a huge thank you, because hopefully next year we'll be able to start bringing some dogs back in from meat farms in Asia.
Well, look, you know, as I said to you before, I think we should try and keep positive, you know, and things will get better, and then you'll be able to get things back to normal and carry on rolling out your program. Now, look, Ira, thank you for talking to us. Before you go, you're not going to get away, or even though we're married, I'm not giving you any special treatment here. I want you to play with me on Doggy People Dabble, and my first question is, if you woke up tomorrow morning as a 20-year-old, what would be the first 3 things you did?
Stroke my dog.
You'd what?
I'd stroke my dog.
Stroke your dog? Yeah, of course. I know you'd have a dog with you, and it would be in the bed with you. That I know.
Probably go for a run, which my knees are a bit stiff for these days. And grab a cappuccino before I start my day.
So essentially what you do today.
Yeah.
Exactly. No change there whatsoever.
No change whatsoever. But I forgot one doggy hero, sorry. I forgot our mate Mark Abrahams, who set up Lucy's Law. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah,
Mark's another hero.
Yeah, they're all heroes. Okay, well listen, Ira, I want to thank you very much indeed for taking the time to talk to me. I know how busy you are. All I can say is, on a personal note, I'm ever so proud of you. I'm ever so proud of what you've all achieved. And you know what? You know, you've been a big influence on me. I mean, I love dogs before I met you and married you, but nothing could have prepared me for the fact that I would be this far involved with it. But you know what? I thank you for it. I thank you for it.
Team effort.
I love what you do, and I'll always support you doing it. So thanks very much. And before you go, one more question. What do you want for dinner tonight?
a vegan nut roast.
A vegan nut roast again. Okay, I'll have it waiting for you when you come back. Love you lots. See you a bit later. Bye-bye. Well, that's the end of this week's show, and I hope you enjoyed it. A rather interesting one for me, I have to say. Not often I get the chance to interview my own missus. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed listening to her. That's it for this week. Stay safe, love your dog, and I'll see you next time for another #DoggyHero. Bye-bye.